Not gonna lie, I always thought that Wing Chun as a martial art kind of sucked. I would see stuff like this online and I'd be like, oh, that would never work. Then this very guy DM'd me, Kevin Lee, super good at Wing Chun. So I challenged him and myself to see if he could teach me the most useful parts of Wing Chun, and then I would try and use them. However, there's a catch. I only get to learn from Kevin for 1 day.
Okay.
That doesn't even bother, that's cool?
Yeah, of course.
Oh. Usually this is the part where it's like, oh, that's gonna be difficult.
I think you can do it.
It'll be fine.
You can do it.
The first thing we needed to do to get me acclimated to the Wing Chun style was the stance.
You stay feet together.
Yep.
Second, toes apart. Third, heels apart. Fourth, drive your hip up. So heel, toe, and sit.
So, question.
Okay.
Why?
For training, you want to make sure you're engaging muscle. Relax your body and stay tall. I just give it a little push.
Yeah.
Engage that little bit right there. Push. See?
Definitely much sturdier. But do you fight like that?
No.
Throughout this day of learning, we're going to be looking at about 4 different things. We're going to look at the stance, we're going to be looking at how they punch, which is frankly completely abnormal from other martial arts. We're going to be looking at any kicks they might do, and lastly, how they defend in general. I don't really need this piece of paper. So it's for the sake of
Understanding
getting
the body
muscles.
Correct. This is probably not ideal for fighting because you're staying like this, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, you'll see more in the movies.
Yeah.
But to really actually get into sparring, like the personal way I do it, you should just do
Kevin
this.
is super interesting to learn from, because not only does he know a ton about Wing Chun, but he also is well versed in other martial arts. Now, you recommend, though, probably going higher and closer to the head. Okay. Is this a specific lineage of Wing Chun?
If you look back to history, right? Wing Chun was like for self-defense and killing art.
Yeah.
So there's swords that gets applied. It doesn't make sense if you empty hands doing this.
Yeah.
But if you put 2 swords on your hand or 2 daggers on your hand, that makes more sense. I can do palm forward, palm in, or palm like this.
Okay.
I personally prefer this way, where my fingers are vertical. Like that. Because where I want to strike is gonna be like this, and boom, like that.
Now, like I mentioned before, Wing Chun has some odd punches, so I was interested to hear how we explained it.
It's like, doesn't matter if you study boxing, Thai boxing, and all the different swords, right? People tend to punch horizontally.
Yeah.
Wing Chun specifically, we punch vertically.
So you're making contact with like
the bottom 3. Yeah.
The bottom 3. Interesting.
So you want to tilt upwards. Now your wrist is strong. When you push forward, everything comes from the elbow.
Interesting.
We call that elbow alignment.
Okay.
As opposed to me doing this, pull back and punch,
Yeah.
which is everything relies on the muscle.
Right.
I'm doing this. Notice how I'm expanding like this.
Yep.
And when I hit, I'm dropping my hip. So when I turn my head a little bit, and you hit like that.
Okay.
So everything happens within that couple inches. Don't pull this hand back. Think about expanding all your joint like this. So it's like bow and arrow. Stretch. Then when you strike, you pull, drop your weight. Go. Yes.
Okay.
Like that. That's a concept.
Got it.
Instead of thinking about pushing, strike it. Yes.
Okay.
That's it.
Everything long.
And boom. Like that.
I was still a little curious about the way this punch happened, so I figured I'd do some testing by myself. Before we start sparring, I feel like it's important that I test these punches out. So that's what we're doing now. I want to test it on a cantaloupe, the scientifically proven most accurate fruit to a head, minus the science part. These are like some of the smallest bones in our whole body, so the idea of using the smallest of the smallest bones, it's a little scary to me. You got a little bit of... Oh, I shouldn't have worn a white shirt. After about 7 punches, we got a little bit of damage. Just to compare, let's go with the big knuckles. Oh yeah, I mean, it's still hard. A little more painful on the pinky knuckles than it is the big ones, but also I've trained that my whole life. Maybe a watermelon will be a little bit different. What do you think, Bug? You want some cantaloupe? Oh, that one did it. That's kind of look like a tongue. Test complete. So are there any kicks in Wing Chun?
We don't kick a lot, but what we do, we have a short kick and a long kick. We don't do round kick, just because imagine that you're sitting in a closed room setting.
Yeah.
You can't lift your knee.
Yeah.
So a lot of motion that you tend to see is this type of motion, the knee lifting. We don't kick so much in the front, more so on the side, this, like that. It's satin.
Okay.
This is a good one.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
This is like a knee check on the foot. This is one way, what you can do this way or this way, like that.
Okay, got it. A lot of, like an oblique kick.
Basically, yes.
Okay. Now, Wing Chun is a martial art that keeps their hands super low, so there must be some fundamental secret to Wing Chun's defense that lets them do this.
Wing Chun doesn't teach blocking.
Okay.
There's no blocking.
Really?
There's zero blocking in Wing Chun. Because for self-defense purposes or for street fighting purposes, anytime I block, I'm wasting time.
And you're kind of permitting them to throw more punches.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm helping you to get your combination will follow through, right?
Yeah.
So we like to teach parry first and then intercepting.
Okay.
So if you're doing sparring, you have to know how to block.
Yeah.
So I like to teach people to go big punch, I just block. And once you get that, I start using my hand. So feel this. This is what I like to teach. So you pop like that, right?
Yep. Yeah, that
That's
wasn't
one.
much, but
Right?
it was.
Now you get 4 different directions. So punch, that's 1.
Yep.
2.
Yep.
That's 3.
Huh. Got it.
This is my finger doing this.
This next part that he taught me is what I was most skeptical about, and now is my favorite thing.
I want to destroy your knuckle. Depending on my range, we'll parry the hand into an elbow like that. Ooh, yeah. And then, of course, it takes a lot of practice. Like, what I tell people to do is always aim for my, like you go to punch me.
Yeah, yeah.
Now just move like that, right? But, and all I do is this. Right?
Yeah, I did feel that.
Yeah, really, I want right there.
Yeah.
Which is elbows in.
Yeah.
But I have to make sure you're punching me like that.
Yeah.
So one is I can use my outside hand to parry it. 2
Yeah.
is this hand like that.
Got it.
This is super hard to do. They'll start to like, not sure what to do
Yeah.
because every time I punch, I get hit back.
Yeah.
So now it's like they're afraid to throw that combinations.
Right. Once I got the hang of the defense, Kevin gave me 4 things to try and accomplish offensively.
1, 2, just like that. Okay, 1, 2.
The first of which being a basic 1-2, but with vertical fists.
Second one, this is tricky. Yep. Because I'm gonna punch you with this hand towards your head, right? So you gotta step off and punch the hand to the pad. Yes. That's it. Like that.
After emphasizing the importance of getting off the center line, we worked on what was called lap sao.
Hold the hand down. Yep. Like that. But halfway, I shoot my elbow forward.
Yeah.
But my hand's still connected to you. Boom, boom, like that. It's like
Yeah.
tap, tap.
Yeah.
This one, you drop your stick. That's it.
Okay. And lastly, and probably most famously, the chain punch.
We're progressively moving forward like this. Like that.
Oh, okay.
At the same time,
I'm replacing one after another?
yes. And the hand goes straight, straight. And then shuffle forward with me. That's it. Boom, boom, boom. That's it. Full, yeah. Forward pressure. Just like that. That's it.
Oh yeah, and other than those 4 things, there's all of this.
And then, that's it. Elbow and post move like that. With one side. Boom. That's it. You see how my hand is go boom, boom, like that.
Got it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Double impulse, drop,
And then pull.
pop, pop, pop. Fake low.
Yep.
And you'll drop the hand with them, pop, pop, right there.
Yeah. And with all of this information, Kevin was on his way, and I was on my way to get my butt kicked? Question mark? I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty impressed. Let me walk you through what I learned and how I used it. Touch, there's the 1-2. There's that flip hand back fist. I try and stick to his arm here while he's coming across, which allows me to see and feel everything. Here, watch my fingers very closely. I flick the fingers down and then come over top. Now, by having the squared stance that doesn't throw kicks as much, I did feel myself getting stuck in invulnerable positions quite a bit. This is a great example. Here I eat a body shot. And here a leg kick. Here I whiff on the kick to the hip, but then I'm able to stick and frame out. Now this part's really interesting. It has nothing to do with Wing Chun at all. Okay, that's... Alright, back to the Wing Chun. Now, this one I feel like is a pretty good test of if Wing Chun would work or not, because it's not against somebody who's super well trained, and I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way. The guy I'm sparring with now is fairly new and isn't quite adjusted to sparring yet, going a little hard and a little all over the place, which we're working on. However, it is a good show of what it's like to fight somebody not on the gym floor, someone with a little more power and a little less technique. With this long vertical front hand, I was finding a lot of success, popping stuff out of the way and firing back. I kind of broke the techniques up into rounds, and for this round, I really wanted to work defensive and specifically that, the elbow pop. I made it work once or twice, and it's not that Kevin said to keep your hands low, it's not recommended by him, but in Wing Chun they do, and because of that, sometimes stuff on the outside gets a little bit sketchier. Now, to finish it off, I only had 2 or 3 real attempts at a chain punch. That was one of them. You probably couldn't even tell. This is kind of a variation that I was looking for, like a parry go, but both times it didn't really work out for me. Then there was this one, which it was hard to keep my feet under me. I need to work on that one for sure. All in all, I feel like I've had a pretty significant change of heart when it comes to Wing Chun. 1, Kevin's awesome. You guys should subscribe. He's really cool. And he's like the nicest guy. But 2, I think there's way more useful applications of it than it gets credit for. But to be fair, the reason that it doesn't get credit for it as much is because of the ways people use it.
Well, I think people get trapped into the Wing Chun training a little bit too much sometimes. I mean, there's nothing wrong to train the art itself, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes for me, it's a functionality of the art itself.
Yeah.
How do you take that piece of stuff and then combine something that you already know, or maybe implement, or maybe make something better?
I feel like there's something between. I think a lot of people either focus on simply technique, and I think a lot of people focus on simply fighting.
Yes.
And I think there's a middle ground. Which is probably why it gets such a bad rep, because you see all these people who kind of look like they don't know what they're doing, while maybe they have good technique, like what are you doing with it? Which in viewers' minds leads to, oh, well, that technique isn't worth anything. Rather than, oh, they're not using that technique in a way that works. And that's what's great about guys like Kevin, is he's phenomenal with the ability to fight and with the ability to use the technique flawlessly. So he's an integral part of bringing back martial arts that have kind of gotten a bad name. Maybe that's just my opinion though. Anyway, subscribe or I'll kick you. Bang! I am so glad I punched this watermelon.